Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're looking at the blueprint for self-made wealth, specifically focusing on 5 daily success habits. I'm absolutely thrilled to share this with you because we're going to completely demystify how wealth is actually built. If you've ever felt like financial freedom is just this massive, unsolvable puzzle, well, stick around because this is going to clarify everything for you. So let me ask you a question. What if becoming a millionaire wasn't just about luck? We're so often conditioned to believe that extreme wealth only comes from, say, a lucky lottery ticket, a massive inheritance, or some ultra-rare sky-high salary. But what if the biggest difference between ordinary folks and self-made millionaires actually just came down to a few specific, repeatable routines? Now, what's really interesting about this is that the reality of the data is absolutely staggering. A massive 90% of millionaires are actually considered self-made. Think about that. Just 10% relied on inherited wealth. That literally means 9 out of 10 millionaires built their financial standing from the ground up through disciplined daily habits, smart choices, and consistent actions over time. They weren't handed a golden ticket, right? They built one. Section 1. The Self-Made Wealth Myth, Uncovering the Reality of Riches. You see, the myth of wealth is super flashy. When most of us think about millionaires, we instantly picture luxury cars, private jets, massive mansions, the whole shebang. But those are usually the end results, not the actual reasons they became wealthy in the first place. The reality? Well, it's all about daily habits, discipline, and consistent decisions. Success really isn't an overnight phenomenon. It's quietly built, just one disciplined decision at a time. Habit 1. Pay yourself first, reversing the cash flow. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference. Think about your ordinary financial routine, right? A salary comes in, bills get paid, maybe some shopping and entertainment happen, and then, well, if a miracle occurs, whatever is left over gets saved. But millionaires completely reverse this process. A salary comes in, and the absolute first thing they do is invest. Only after that money is totally secured do they move on to their bills and their spending. As the saying goes, the first thing they do is invest. And the absolutely crucial point here is that whether you start with 10%, 20%, or even more, it's really about the automation and the prioritization of compound growth. They automatically move money into investments before a single dime is spent on anything else. And over time, that money actually begins working just as hard as they do. Moving on to habit 2, never stop learning, the ultimate investment. Look, we all know it's incredibly easy to fall into passive, time-wasting behaviors. Like doom scrolling through social media for hours on end. But self-made millionaires, they are ferocious, active consumers of information. They're constantly reading books and biographies, staying updated with business news, throwing on podcasts during their commutes, attending seminars, and even hiring mentors and coaches. They know for sure that continuous learning and skill acquisition is exactly what creates brand new opportunities. It really all boils down to this incredibly powerful mindset. The greatest investment you'll ever make is in yourself. And hey, it's not just some catchy phrase to throw on a poster. It's a fundamental truth they live by every single day. The more you know, the more equipped you are to spot trends, solve complex problems, and ultimately generate real value. Next up, habit 3. Live below means. Modesty over luxury. Now, to understand why this matters, you really have to understand assets. Simply put, an asset is an investment that has the potential to grow in value over time. So instead of buying every luxury item they can possibly afford, millionaires rigorously distinguish between assets and liabilities. They know a luxury car is a liability. It literally lights money on fire the second you drive it off the lot. An investment portfolio, however, is an asset. They consistently choose buying assets over buying luxuries, putting long-term value way ahead of an immediate, flashy price tag. Which brings us to income streams and long-term thinking, habits 4 and 5. So most people depend entirely on just one single paycheck, right? Well, millionaires rarely do. They build multiple sources of income. We're talking dividend-paying stocks, rental properties, business ventures, royalties, maybe even digital products. By moving away from relying on a single employer and creating systems that generate cash from multiple directions, they drastically reduce their financial risk. It builds incredible long-term stability. Because think about it, if one stream slows down, the others just keep right on flowing.
Let's move to and see how this builds over time, because habit 5 is all about thinking long term. In year 1, you start consistent investing. By year 5, when those inevitable market drops happen, and they will, you hold steady without panicking. Fast forward to year 10, and that compound growth really starts to accelerate, totally paving the way to year 20, which is financial independence. The truth is, wealth takes years to accumulate. It relies heavily on the quiet power of patience and just allowing time to do its thing and work in your favor.
So, while the average person is kind of stuck in this short-term thinking loop, always asking, how much can I make this month? The self-made millionaire shifts their entire perspective. They're asking a totally different question. Where will I be in 20 years? It's a completely different mental horizon, and it naturally guides much smarter, much more patient decision-making.
And finally, your wealth-building blueprint, the bonus habits.
So, what's the foundational glue holding all this together? It's setting crystal clear goals. You write down exactly what you're working toward, whether that's early retirement, passive income, whatever it is, and you continuously track your progress. You review the results of your efforts, and importantly, you adjust your plans when life inevitably throws a curveball. Because, let's be real, a goal without a structured plan is really only a wish. Millionaires actively turn their goals into reality through this exact, intentional, step-by-step process.
Listen, if you take away only one single phrase from this entire explainer, let it be this: consistency beats intensity. You do not need to be rich to start these habits. In fact, actually, scratch that. These habits are exactly what help people become rich in the first place. Small, disciplined improvements repeated every single day produce truly remarkable financial results over time. Money follows discipline, and wealth follows patience. So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Which habit will you start today? The journey to your financial future doesn't start with $1 million. It starts with a single habit, followed by another, and then another. The blueprint is right here in front of you. So the only question now is, are you ready to take your very first step?